The letter arrived early in the morning, and the moment Samuel Blackwood read it, his whole face changed. He stared at the paper with a smile that looked far too eager, the kind a man wears when he sees a chance to hurt someone without lifting a finger. His wife Martha leaned closer, her eyes shining with curiosity. His daughters, Rebecca and Sarah, waited like wolves, ready to laugh at anything that wasn't about them. Ezra Stone, the richest and most respected mountain man in the region, had written to ask for the hand of one of the Blackwood daughters. People said he owned more land than anyone for many miles, more cattle than he could count, and a name that brought respect wherever he went. Any family would have been honored. Any father would have thanked God. But Ezra had not asked for Rebecca or Sarah. He had asked for Clara. The room went silent for one breath, then exploded in cruel laughter. Rebecca bent over, holding her stomach. Sarah clapped her hands like someone watching a comedy show. Martha bit her lip to keep from laughing too loudly. Clara, they said, the plain daughter, the serious one, the girl who had strong hands from work, who spoke up when something was wrong, who did not fit in the polished world her sisters lived in. She was nothing like them, and the family made sure she never forgot it. But Clara wasn't near them. She was in the back room, gently caring for her sick grandmother, wiping her forehead and adjusting her blankets like she did every day. She heard the laughter, but she didn't know yet that she was the reason for it. Inside the sitting room, the plan formed quickly. This is perfect. Samuel said, Ezra Stone thinks he chose himself a quiet bride. Let him see what he really gets. He has no idea who Clara is, Martha added. He'll be stuck with her before he even understands. And she'll be far enough away, Rebecca said smugly, that we won't have to deal with her anymore. They thought sending Clara away was the sweetest joke they could ever play. But they didn't know Clara had heard everything. She stood just outside the room, laundry still in her hands, her heart pounding so loud she thought they might hear it. She listened to every cruel word, every laugh, every plan to get rid of her, every lie they were preparing to send to Ezra Stone. His problem, not ours. Burden, mistake, defect. Words she had heard her whole life, but this time they cut deeper. Something inside her cracked. For years she had tried to be a good daughter. For years she had worked the hardest chores, stayed quiet when treated unfairly, cared for her grandmother, and tried to help others in town when she could. But her family never saw any of it. They only saw what they wanted to see. Clara wiped her face, steadied her breath, and stepped away from the wall. Her hands trembled, but her heart felt strangely clear. If this was how her family wanted to let her go, then she would leave, but not as the broken girl they thought she was. She would leave with her head held high. She would leave as herself. That night at dinner, Samuel cleared his throat and spoke as if he were sharing wonderful news. Clara, you have received a marriage proposal. Her sisters watched her with smirks plastered on their faces. Clara looked up calmly, and you accepted it. Of course, Martha said sweetly. It is a great opportunity for you. A blessing, Rebecca added. A miracle, really. Sarah whispered under her breath. Clara nodded once. When do I leave? Monday. Samuel said, your future husband wishes to meet you then. Only 5 days. 5 days until her entire life changed. She finished her meal silently, not arguing, not crying. Her mind was already working, already preparing. Maybe this was the moment she needed. Maybe leaving this house was not punishment, but freedom. And maybe, far away from these walls, someone would finally see her for who she really was. In another valley, Ezra Stone paced his porch, looking out at the wide fields he had built with his own hands. For 10 long years he had worked from sunrise to sunset, shaping wild land into a thriving homestead. He had everything a man could want: land, reputation, strength, but no one to share it with. And every time he thought about marriage, one memory always returned. The memory of a young woman standing in a marketplace, defending an old man who had been wrongly accused. The way she stood firm, fearless, ready to face anyone who tried to harm the weak. The way she gave away her own money without hesitation. He had never forgotten her. Clara Blackwood. That day, 5 years ago, something had settled in his heart like a seed. Something he could never ignore. So he wrote the letter. Not to ask for a beautiful bride. Not to ask for someone trained to smile and stay silent, but to ask for the woman who had shown courage when no one else had. The woman who acted from the heart even when it cost her something. Ezra didn't know her family despised her. He didn't know they planned to send her away as a joke. He only knew she had a fire inside her that he had never seen in anyone else. And he prayed that when she arrived on Monday, she would still be that same woman. Monday was coming fast, and when Clara arrived at Ezra Stone's homestead, both of their lives would change forever, far more than either of them was ready for. Clara reached Ezra Stone's homestead just after noon. The wagon stopped in front of a wide wooden porch, the house standing tall and solid against the open sky. It was the kind of place built by hands that never gave up, the kind of place that held stories in every board and every fence post. But Clara barely noticed the house. She noticed him. Ezra stepped out slowly, wiping his hands on a cloth after finishing some work. He was taller than she remembered, stronger, older too, but the eyes, those steady brown eyes, were exactly the same. The same eyes that had watched her in the market 5 years ago. The same eyes that had seen something in her no one else ever had. He walked toward her with calm steps. "Miss Clara," he said, his voice deep and gentle. "Welcome." Something warm moved through Clara's chest, but she managed a small curtsy. "Thank you, Mr. Ezra." They stood there for a moment, both unsure what to say. It felt strange, meeting someone who had chosen her without even knowing her. Someone who might reject her when he learned the truth. Someone who might be her whole future. Ezra lifted her trunk from the wagon and nodded toward the house. "Come inside. You must be tired from traveling." Inside, Clara felt her nerves tighten. The home was simple, but full of quiet warmth. A fire burned in the hearth. Books filled the shelves. The windows let in soft light. Nothing like her family's cold and perfect sitting room. Ezra handed her a cup of warm coffee and sat across from her, leaving space so she wouldn't feel crowded. For a moment, neither spoke. Clara set her cup down and took a steady breath. "Mr. Ezra, may I ask you something?" "Of course. Why did you ask for me specifically?" "You could have chosen either of my sisters." Ezra held her gaze, and Clara felt the weight of his honesty before he even spoke. "Because I saw you," he said quietly. 5 years ago, in the market, her heart stumbled you. You remember that? I never forgot. Ezra said, I saw a young woman stand up for a poor old man when everyone else ignored him. I saw courage. I saw kindness. I saw someone who didn't look away from what was right. Clara blinked hard as her eyes warmed. No one in my family saw it that way. Ezra leaned forward. Your family is not the measure of your worth. It was such a simple sentence. Yet it felt like a stone lifting off her heart. Clara swallowed hard and forced herself to keep going. I need to be honest with you, she said. My family sent me here because they want to get rid of me. They think I'm a problem, someone who causes trouble because I speak up for others. Ezra didn't flinch. I suspected they were eager to send you off, he admitted, but I didn't know why. Because they don't value who I am, Clara whispered. They think I ruin things. They think I'm strange or unworthy. Ezra slowly stood and walked to the window. When he turned back, his expression held something strong and steady. Clara, let me tell you something. People who live without a conscience fear those who have one. People who thrive on dishonesty dislike those who tell the truth. Your family didn't reject you because you were wrong. They rejected you because you were right. Clara felt like the room shifted around her. No one had ever said words like that to her. Not once in her whole life. Ezra returned to sit near her. Though not too close, I did not ask for a silent wife. He said I asked for the woman I saw that day. The woman with fire in her heart. Clara looked down at her hands. the hands her mother called, ugly and calloused. Ezra's eyes softened as he followed her gaze. "Those hands show you work," he said gently. "They show strength." They show character. Clara felt something break open inside her, something she didn't know had been locked away. "Mr. Ezra, you don't know me," she whispered. "That's why I want time," he replied a few weeks. "No pressure, no rush. We'll learn each other. And then we choose, together, if we want this marriage." Clara lifted her eyes. "You would give me a choice." "Of course," Ezra said. "You're a human being, Clara. Not a parcel being handed off." Her throat tightened. Her chest ached. No one had ever spoken to her with such respect. After a moment, Clara nodded. "I accept. I'll stay. And we'll learn each other honestly." Quote, Ezra's smile was soft, real good. That first week changed everything. Ezra showed Clara the fields, the barns, the cattle. She offered ideas he never thought of. He listened. He asked questions. He valued her words in a way no one ever had. "Why aren't the water troughs connected?" she asked one afternoon. "If you link them, they wouldn't run dry so quickly during drought." Ezra stared at her, stunned. "You're right. They worked together. Walked together, talked late into the evenings. With every moment, Clara felt her fear fading and something warmer taking its place. One night, while watching the stars, Ezra said quietly, "Clara, I have a confession." Her breath caught. "What is it?" "I never planned to fall for you so quickly," he said, "but I am." Every day, Clara's heart jumped. Her hands trembled. "I feel the same," she whispered. "I didn't expect it, but I do." Ezra stepped closer, only an inch May. Clara nodded. Their kiss was gentle and warm, like two hearts recognizing each other for the first time. When they pulled apart, Ezra rested his forehead against hers. "Clara," he said softly, "I want to marry you, not because of the arrangement, but because I want you." Quote, Clara felt tears fill her eyes, but they were not sad tears. They were the tears of someone finally seen. "Yes," she whispered, "I choose you too." What Clara didn't know was that her family was about to learn the truth, and the shock waiting for them would shake their entire world. Clara and Ezra were married on a warm Saturday morning in the small church of Pine Valley. The sky was clear, the bells rang softly, and everyone who truly cared about them filled the wooden pews. Workers from the homestead came with their families. Friends from neighboring ranches hugged Clara like she had always belonged with them. Even people she had once helped in town arrived with small handmade gifts. Her family didn't come. They sent only a cold letter with a short congratulations, and Clara dropped it straight into the fire. She felt nothing. Not anger, not sadness. Just freedom. Ezra stood at the front of the church wearing his best coat, his hands shaking slightly. When Clara entered in her simple blue dress, his breath left him. Her hair was braided, her cheeks warm with color, and her eyes shined with something he had waited years to see, peace. As she walked toward him, Ezra whispered under his breath, "Thank God her family didn't keep her." They exchanged vows that held no lies. Ezra promised to honor her voice, her heart, and her fire. Clara promised to stand by him as his equal, his companion, his truth-teller. Their kiss sealed more than a marriage. It sealed a life built from respect, not control. The celebration went long into the night. Music filled the air. Children ran through the fields. Clara laughed freely, her face glowing in a way she never had before. Ezra kept his hand on her back, unable to stop looking at her, as if making sure she was real. But peace never lasts long before someone tries to disturb it. 3 months later, a familiar carriage appeared on their road. Samuel Blackwood stepped out, looking smaller than Clara remembered. His shoulders sagged. His eyes darted around, taking in the large barns, the new irrigation systems, the healthy cattle, the schoolhouse Clara had helped design for workers, children. Ezra came to stand beside Clara instantly, his hand resting protectively at the small of her back. "Clara," Samuel said, removing his hat, "I need to speak with you." She didn't move. "Say what you came to say." Samuel swallowed hard. "Our family is facing trouble. The magistrate was arrested. Investigations are happening. We may lose everything." Clara stayed silent. Samuel continued, "I hoped maybe you could speak to your husband. Ask him to help us financially, temporarily. Until things settle." Clara stared at him for a long moment, stunned not by the request, but by the fact he believed she owed him anything. "You sent me away as a joke," she said quietly. "You wanted me gone. You wanted Ezra to suffer because of me." Samuel looked away. "We misjudged. But you're still our daughter." "No," Clara said. "A daughter is loved, supported, appreciated. I was none of those things to you." Ezra stepped forward then, his voice steady as stone. "Mr. Blackwood, my wife speaks the truth. You didn't send her here out of love. You sent her here because you underestimated her. And me." Samuel's jaw tightened. "Are you really going to let her talk to her father like this?" Ezra looked him straight in the eyes. "I married her because she speaks the truth. If you can't stand to hear it, that's not her fault." Samuel tried one last time. "Clara, please." Clara's voice softened but held steel. "I warned you about corruption. You ignored me. I tried to stop the harm. You stopped me. Now the consequences have come, and you want me to save you." Samuel opened his mouth, but no words came. Clara continued, "If I help you now, you'll go right back to the same schemes. I won't support that." Tears of anger filled Samuel's eyes. "You'll regret this." "No," Clara said calmly. "I regret ever believing I needed your approval." Samuel climbed into his carriage, slamming the door. The wheels kicked up dust as he drove away, shrinking into the distance. Ezra wrapped his arm around Clara. "You didn't owe him anything." Clara leaned against him, letting out a breath she had held for years. "Ezra, did I do the right thing?" Ezra kissed her forehead. "You were true to yourself. You were true to yourself. That's always right." That evening, they ate dinner together in the warm, peaceful home they had built. Clara watched Ezra laugh, watched the firelight dance across the walls, and felt something she had never felt in her childhood house. Belonging. Purpose. Love. She thought of her family, their cruelty, their scheming, their pride, and felt no longing to return. They had sent her away thinking she would ruin Ezra's life. Instead, they unknowingly delivered her straight into the arms of a man who treasured her. Ezra reached across the table and took her hand. "You know what your family never understood?" he said. "What?" "That their ugly daughter was the most beautiful person they ever had, and they were too blind to see it." Clara's eyes warmed. "And what did you see?" Ezra smiled softly. "Everything I ever wanted." Clara felt her heart settle deeply into her chest, steady and full. She wasn't unwanted anymore. She wasn't the family burden anymore. She was Clara Stone, wife, partner, beloved, and she was home.